Mills and others went into the railroad industry, working on the railroad. On my mother's side of the family, they came to Oakland to go north into the lumber mills. My father's side of the family comes to Oakland, be part of railroad jobs, and my uncle, my father's oldest brother, C.L. Dellums, and A. Philip Randolph came together and organized the first black trade union in the history of America, which changed the perception of black workers for all time. So, you know, my mother was 16 years old when she gave birth to me. So she had to drop out of high school, gave birth to me, went back to high school, and finished high school. So this was a brilliant woman, and I always thought this was an incredible person who could have done anything she wanted to do. So she had to live her life out seeing that Ronnie excelled educationally. So I ended up, she sent me across town to a middle class, predominantly white high school, thinking that I was going to get a better education. And she did what a lot of people don't do, which is she called my uncle and said, "You don't know it, but Ronnie's living with you, and he's going across town." So I would go all the way from the hood across town to the middle class community to high school. Suddenly, now this is in the 1950-51, my teachers discovered this young Negro male that they thought could do college work. So they would write on the back of my report cards, "Mrs. Dellums, encourage your son, he can do college work." They all got together one day because they realized they were talking about the same guy, took me to the principal's office and said, "We think this young man ought to go to college. Are there any scholarships available?" The principal went and dusted off an old scholarship. I think they probably forgot was even there. And this is how long ago. It was an academic scholarship to the University of California at Berkeley for a Negro male. So I go home and tell my mom, "You're not going to believe this, but multi-$1,000 scholarship, University of California at Berkeley." My mother, man, buttons almost popped. But I also wanted to be a baseball player. Some of you in the room I see are old enough to remember Frank Robinson, who was a brilliant baseball player. Well, when we graduated from junior high school together, the prediction was that Ron Dellums and Frank Robinson would both wear Major League Baseball uniforms. So when I go across town, I went away from the high school that Frank Robinson went to the predominantly white high school that had only had one black baseball player in the history of the high school. Everybody said, "No question, you're going to make the team." I ran out that day and I looked and my name wasn't there. Totally destroyed me. And I started to deteriorate because my view of myself was not only as a good student, but an athlete. I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player in the worst way. So that was suddenly gone. I had no particular reason. So I started cutting class, started walking like a thug, acting like a thug, doing all the crazy, crazy things. But my mother never knew, because my mother and father had separated, and I said, "They don't know my father's signature." So I got some young women to give me some blank report cards. And so for 3 years through high school, my mother kept saying A minus. And she signed these phony report cards. I signed the ones where I was almost flunking out of school. Graduation night comes, the moment of truth. My mother gets all dressed up, leaves the hood, comes to Tech High School, waiting for this great announcement. Ron Dellums, multi-$1,000 scholarship, University of California at Berkeley. Well, when they called my name, the light hit the envelope, and the way the envelope, where it hit it, it looked as if there was nothing in there. I said, "Oh my God. Not only did I blow this scholarship, I'm not going to graduate from high school." I don't know about you guys, but in my community, when we're in trouble, we get deeply religious. I I walked swiftly past my mother, father, and my sister down to the locker room, and I go, oh, Lord Jesus, please let me graduate. Oh, Jesus, God, oh, whatever you need, I'll do it, please let me graduate. I did graduate. Thank God, at least that was done. So we get to dinner, my mother goes, you know, like, what happened? Mom, tonight I'm going to have to grow up and be a man. I've been lying to you for 2.5 years. Not because I wanted to hurt you, but because I didn't want you to hurt. But I almost didn't graduate from high school. I lost the scholarship. Oh my God, I knew it. There we go, San Quentin. I said, no, I promise you, I'll make something of myself. I'm going to do this. So I messed around for a year, and because I graduated in June 1953. Then finally in June 1954, I joined the Marine Corps. I said, well, I'll get the GI Bill. My mother come home from work one night, Mom, Wednesday morning, I'm leaving on a plane to San Diego. I've joined the Marine Corps. My mother started bouncing off the roof. Oh my God, that's the worst thing in the world. I knew it. You weren't going to go to college. You told me you were going to do it. You weren't going to do it. Oh my God. Fast forward, I remember later, many years later, I'm in the Congress, the phone rings, and my mother said, remember that day that I told you that was the worst thing I thought you would ever do? I said, yeah, Mom. She said, well, I just was thinking about that, and I called you to tell you I was wrong, you were right. It was the best thing you ever did. It gave you a college education, and when the right wing attacked you as being the radical peacenik, and somebody said, yeah, but he was a Marine, they'd go, oh. That'll compute, right? So they didn't know how to deal with that. So she said, it protected you. That was a great thing.